Now in its 10th year, this is Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, this is Alex, and this is Harlem, and this is New York City, and this is the Ramble, and we go until midnight tonight. Always have some kind of technical problems before we talk to Lori Thompson. Hey, I'm wearing my glasses today.
You are now, Ben. Now I can't see you. I mean, I can see you, but it's a frozen picture.
The what?
I can see you, but the picture is frozen.
Oh, okay. Well, then forget about it. Just go back to where you were, and let's
Here
just
we
talk.
are. Now you're here. I got the good one of you. Now,
I'll take my
okay,
glasses off so you don't have to see me with my glasses if you can see me.
There we are. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. We're fine. Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen. That's Lori Thompson. We always have problems. I couldn't figure out I wasn't getting her audio, and it turned out it was on my end. I didn't have the right thing to hear it through. So
We're going to get 2 Dixie cups and a long, long string.
a long string. It'll go all the way down to Florida.
Yes.
How are things in Florida now? I guess it's all you've cleaned up and everything, right?
Oh yeah, and we didn't get hit much, but some areas did, and it is all cleaned up. And the coverage, the TV coverage, makes it look selectively much worse than it is.
Well, they always show the worst.
Yeah,
In
because it's
fact,
more.
If you ever go back to television, let's just say you do,
Okay.
and you become a reporter,
Yeah.
and it's flooding.
Mm-hmm.
Don't stand out in the flood.
Like Dan Rather, what a showboat. During a hurricane, he tied himself to a tree. Of course, that's when he was young, and that's what catapulted him to the network's attention.
Tying himself to a tree. Well, anyway, because what they do is they have these people, they're reporting. And I remember one case she was reporting, and she was like up to her knees in the water, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously wearing galoshes and everything like that.
Or wellies.
And so she does this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right in back of her is a bank with no water.
Well,
So why didn't she go stand on the bank?
I think because it's visually more, wow, look, more
I mean,
dramatic.
I don't like I want my news reporters to be smart. I don't want them to be dumb.
Right, smart and dry. That's the thing.
Smart and dry, right. So you're indoors today, and there's a fireplace going there.
Yeah, I'm trying to, get the preamp to the holiday festivities because you're already starting to see it in the stores. And
It's not even, I'm looking at my watch, it's not even Christmas yet.
No, it's not. But we start using our fireplace we just do those, goofy logs, the little ones, the pressed peat.
Yeah, right.
Because they're so handy. And we start about now, although we can still walk around. I was just outside, it's 75 degrees here. So that's pretty perfect.
Yeah. I have we have a fireplace here.
I know. I've been to your beautiful apartment.
And I use wood.
Where do you get your wood?
I was getting my wood at a store
Where do you
here
get your
in
wood?
town, but it closed. It closed, and they would deliver the wood too.
Yeah.
And I had it all kind of stacked up, and but I got tired of making fires. Too much work.
Yeah.
Too much work. That's why those little pressed logs or whatever you're doing back there are so convenient because you don't have to do anything. They just keep going.
Yes. And that's what I always use because I don't, I've made fires from scratch before in fireplaces that I've had, and it's just too tedious.
I make the most spectacular fires in fireplaces.
You do?
I know how to do it, and I do it. And one time, my fireplace, I used to get, this is in San Francisco, I used to get the logs, okay?
Yeah.
But then I also got, what was those things that you put in there, and they're not charcoal. God, I'm trying to remember.
Oh, but those little cubes that would make it blue? Is that what you're thinking
no.
of?
This was actually something that made it hotter.
Really?
Yeah, they were like coals of some
Yeah.
sort, and you would put them underneath the fire, and the coals would heat up and keep the fire going. You didn't have to really work at it. It would just keep the fire going. Well, once I made the fire so hot that it melted the andiron.
You're kidding. Oh my gosh.
Andiron, folks, in case you don't know, if you've never worked on is that little a metal a thing that holds the logs and everything. I literally, it melted it.
You're on the andiron most wanted list.
But I know how to bank fires, so that I put down 2 logs this way, and then I put 2 logs on top of it that way, and 2 more logs up in like this. And then what happens is you start the fire, and the fire goes up as a flue, kind of through the logs, and you get a beautiful fire. Gorgeous. People have commented on how gorgeous my fires looked.
Well, I did not know this about you. These handy skills you have.
Well, this isn't a handy skill. I'm basically a budding pyromaniac. No,
which is
true.
always fun to.
It's true.
I
I
was
used
when
to
I was a
sit
kid.
there in New York late at night, and I had an ashtray, and I would start burning things in the ashtray. Like if I had some cellophane, I'd put that in. There was some other stuff, I'd throw that into the ashtray. And I just made huge fires in this ashtray while I was doing my show.
For entertainment. You had to entertain yourself.
Yeah. So I'm a
Well,
budding
I was a pyro when I was a kid. And to the point where my mom, I had some matches that I'd taken. They were those long ones.
Yeah.
So I'd take a few of those and carry them with me, and found out they would strike on almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then my mother was concerned, and so she started grilling me. Like, are you playing with fire? Like right now. She goes, you look suspicious, like you're playing with fire. And I'd be like, Mom, I'm in the bathtub. It's just like she became hyper aware.
What they should have done is make sure that all their matches in the house were safety matches and only would light on the box.
Yeah.
Then you would have to take the box with you, and that's a little harder to do.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be okay if I could have. I probably didn't have pockets.
So you were a budding pyromaniac. Great.
I was. Yeah.
We're buds.
And now once you've owned a home, you don't feel the same way about fire.
Okay. Well, who makes the fire in your home, Rick or you?
I make this one because it's just the goofy logs, the little handy ones.
Yeah.
But he can make a real fire.
Yeah, he's good at it, huh?
He was a Boy Scout. He was Order of the Arrow, which is not Eagle Scout, but it's right up there. So,
Really?
Oh yeah, he has all kinds
I
of.
tried to join the Boy Scouts, but my local Boy Scout troop was a Mason, not Masons, Mormons. Mormons.
Oh. Yeah.
And they didn't want a Jew in there.
Yeah, they didn't say so.
Even though, according to the Mormons, we're the chosen people.
You are really, according to the Mormons?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, I don't know what we were chosen for, but we're the chosen people.
For contestants on Price is Right, you've been chosen. Yeah, because the Mormonism, I don't know much about. It's always been kind of a punchline because of, having many wives, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and all that. But Steve Young, 49er quarterback for many years, was a Mormon. The thing about wearing the little garment.
Well, it's called the garment, and it's giant pajamas. It goes from your neck. I think it's like this on the shoulders. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen one. Well, it goes on your whole body. And you
have to wear it
under your stuff. So when he was playing football, he probably was wearing the garment.
It makes sense because that's the impression I got. They had to wear them everywhere. It was an everyday thing.
Yeah, I've never. You can't ask a Mormon about the garments because they won't tell you about them.
No, they won't. They get pretty tight-lipped when it comes to those very personal.
Yeah, but I'd like to know if there are different levels of garments. I mean, it gets very hot out there during the summer,
Yeah.
Is there a light summer version of the garment? I'm sure there is.
Poplin,
I'm
maybe.
sure there is. I mean, they don't want
Yeah.
they don't want to make them out of wool. And during winter, you'd want to make them out of wool, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
unless people have some trouble with their skin rubbing on the wool. But I see them down here in Florida when it's broiling hot, and they're always wearing a suit. I am hoping they're made of a cotton poly blend instead of, like you say,
Mormons,
wool.
you're saying, are doing that, wearing
In
suits
Florida?
all the time.
Well, no, I said I'm hoping they're going with the poly cotton blend because wool in this weather.
Yeah.
But I see many Mormons down here doing their evangelistic service.
Yeah. That thing,
Yeah.
pain in the ass.
Well, God love them. I mean, it's
Yeah, but you gotta say, I'm not interested.
yeah.
And,
I do.
and they're used to that, and they're only doing it because they have to do that as part of the religion. They have to go out and go door to door and everything for about a year or two or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mission. I don't know if they call it a mission.
I think it's called a mission. Yeah.
Yeah, and they are dedicated to it. And I guess some teams who are like BMOCs and, quarterback with Steve Young and a big shot take a break from that and do their mission, which would keep you humble, I think. And it's a good idea because you get acquainted with all kinds of people. It's a good lesson in life.
Yeah, it's a good lesson in life. It's a good lesson in life of rejection.
Yeah.
Because
But,
you come in my door, I'm going, not interested, bam,
Well, they're starting to put the Book of Mormon in Marriott hotels. We stay at Marriott's because my husband has like 5 billion platinum points where you can stay free and get upgrades. And but we've noticed there's a Book of Mormon in a lot of Marriott hotels.
Oh, really?
So,
I think,
yeah.
Is Marriott Mormon? I think they may be.
They must be,
Yeah.
because then there's JW Marriott, which is a higher, it's a higher tier.
Yeah.
But I'm notorious about stealing hotel Bibles. I don't think it's stealing hotel Bibles because the Gideons want you to take it. That's my logic. And
Oh,
so I've got
really?
a
Oh,
French,
okay.
I got a German one. It's basically the New Testament.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Actually, I went to a Marriott and I went to the room, and yes, I did have the Book of Mormon. The whole cast came up to the room and did the show.
I've seen that. I saw that on Broadway years and years ago.
Oh, it's a great show. It's a great show.
Yeah, well, no, I saw that. Let me see when it was. Was it a trilogy before that and there was a Mormon segment of this trilogy before they did the Book of Mormon as a standalone musical. And that's the part I saw. There were different segments.
Yeah, well, the Book of Mormon was done by the guys who do South Park.
Yeah. I mean, those guys talk about following your bliss. Those guys they are laughing and doing funny voices with their best friend.
Yeah, that's been on South Park. I think is 25 years, something like that.
I know, and you blink and it's gone. I would have said maybe 12.
Family Guy is, I think, in its 25th.
Mm-hmm. And The Simpsons.
The Simpsons is in its, I think, 35th or something like that.
Yeah, because they started on the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah, as a little
official
segment on the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah. But you just got back from Paris.
No, I'm going to Paris. As we're recording this is going to be played tonight. Okay. So I am going, and then I play another one of you before I leave. Although I might not. I have to figure it out first.
I had to figure your programming schedule.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have so much fun, but do the wheelchair option, Ben. I would recommend, because I sprained my ankle and I was having I had fractures in my back, and so I got one. Simply, I couldn't walk that far. I simply couldn't. So we got one once, and it's a great way to go. They're efficient. They get you where you're going, and and are respectful about it. Yeah.
Well, we have a whole thing where Marjorie's the travel agent set it up so that she needs one too.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's but then you'll be together, see, because that was the only thing when I had to get that wheelchair. I didn't see Rick. So, I mean, I assumed he was, I would see him on the plane, but you're separated for a while. And,
Well,
your
what
mind.
happened? What happened? Did they have somebody push you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Good natured person, kind, not
Did
condescending
you
at
have to
all.
tip them afterwards?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
What did you tip?
I don't know if you're obligated to.
$20?
No.
Well, how much?
Yeah. 10.
10? Oh, I figured 20.
Yeah.
I just get a whole bunch of $20 bills and hand them out like they're,
Throwing them
like
around like
candy.
Daddy Warbucks.
Yeah, well, no, Marjorie is going to need one too. So it's going to be the two of us in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
And they get you through TSA faster, doesn't it?
Oh, everything goes faster. And you two together, see, that will be because that was the only alarming thing about it. It's like, I didn't see Rick. I didn't know who we were going to end up.
I'm just afraid, though, see, because she's getting a wheelchair and I'm getting a wheelchair, that they're somehow going to figure out that we're phonies.
But you're not phonies, Ben.
Because you've got a cane with you. Oh, big deal.
Yeah, but no, there are some phonies, I'm sure, but you're not phonies. I mean, when we get perks that are senior citizen, I always am chagrined to a degree, but then I'm like, does this make sense?
Wait a minute, you're how old now?
64.
Oh, you're just right on the edge of senior citizen.
Right, there's a lot of places.
Minute you get a Social Security check, you're a senior.
Okay, I haven't gotten that for yet.
Okay.
So I'm not official, but a lot of places, like at the movie, like I mentioned this before, when they give you the senior discount and they don't even ask you, it's like, wait a minute, you're just assuming I'm old, and that's humbling.
Yeah, well, I've been going to this physical therapy.
Yeah, which you weren't real crazy about last time.
I don't know if it's working or not, but I'll tell you what I'm doing that is working. I went out and bought I went online, I said, shoes for neuropathy.
Yeah,
And
which
it took
is
me
really
to this site called Corrupts or something like that is the name of it. And
Sounds German.
here it is. It's Kurku. Kuru. Kuru.
And they make shoes.
Yeah, they make really nice sneakers, really great sneakers, but they're reinforced in a different way. The heel is very reinforced.
Yeah.
And I put them on, and they're not comfortable immediately. You have to wear them for a while. Mm-hmm. But it forces me to go heel toe.
Ah, very good. So it's therapy, right?
Which helps me walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm using these new sneakers now, and I think they're gonna be okay. They're gonna help me a great deal. Yeah.
Good. Even little incremental things that help.
Boy, forget it. People are listening to us. They're going, it's just two old people talking about old people stuff. And I'm thinking of just starting a show called Old People Stuff.
Yeah.
And people can call and talk,
Well, the thing with me is I'm not the tallest person in the world. Madonna and I are about the same size, according to JFK. And so I like a little height on all my shoes, which steer me away from sneakers.
How tall are you?
I always say 5'4". That's a big exaggeration.
Really? Marjorie is 5'3", 5'4", something like that.
I'm in that zone. And so
I was always hot for short women.
Yeah, you like us.
I don't like tall women.
Yeah.
Although I did go with a tall woman for a while.
You sure did. I remember her. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, she was tall. But usually that tall doesn't turn me on.
Yeah, well, it's to each his own. Yeah. But I think that the thing I don't like about it is people tend to be dismissive of petite people. And so I always wear high heels, and I'm always taller than I really am. But then Converse and Puma, the Converse Chuck Taylors are the better, came out with a platform. And that platform, they've got a platform, and you can get a variety of soles. And it gives you enough height so that you feel like you're among the people and you're comfortable.
Oh,
Your
I didn't
feet are-
know that.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
got several now. Most tennis shoe makers
Well,
make a
these things have
platform.
a reinforced heel. They're very heavy reinforcement on the heel,
Yeah,
on the back of it, and then it has a real nice arch and so on. And so it doesn't hurt as much as the other sneakers do, and it forces me, as I said, to walk heel toe, which when you get neuropathy, you have a tendency to just slide.
yeah.
You know,
Good.
Marjorie can hear me slide, and that's what causes you to fall too. You know.
Yeah, I mean, so that's very proactive of you. That's
So I'm
good.
going to bring my new sneakers to my PT today and see if they approve.
Good idea. Yes, because
Yes.
there's so many products out there. Like if you have a chance to look through it, what is the magazine AARP?
Yeah.
Half of their things are advertisements for things like that, so that you don't really know.
Well, I mean, I have what are my current sneakers are Skechers.
Oh man, yeah. Everybody in the world, Skechers is not going to be happy till they take over everybody's feet. They're on a campaign.
Yeah, but they're not very solid. You know.
Really?
Well, they have a lot of give in them. You know,
Oh,
I can,
okay.
a little flop over to the side this way, a little flop over. These shoes, because they have a really reinforced heel, force my feet straight ahead.
That's
And
good.
you know, it doesn't seem they're good. They're terrific. I think they're going to do the deal for me. Maybe they're even better ones, but this one's okay.
Yeah, see,
Kuru,
that's what
it's
you
called.
find out things that work for you. Like Bionics, I love boots. I have so many cool boots, but they're hard to. I'm still not healed enough in my ankle to wear them.
You
with
know,
comfort.
nobody today. I see lawyers going into court wearing sneakers,
Yeah, it's okay now. It's all the young
and you couldn't
entrepreneurs.
tell because of the white bottoms.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Silicon Valley, made it cool to wear ultra casual, basically anything you want, and it would be okay. And I appreciate Silicon Valley for that.
Yeah, but I'm saying these are lawyers, and they have to get dressed up to go to court, and they got a tie and a jacket, and they're wearing a suit. And
Yeah.
they're wearing sneakers.
Yeah, and it's accepted. Yeah. Well, and these casual Fridays? Remember, we used to joke, what do hookers wear on Casual Friday? But you can find a lot of things that make what you're dealing with physically easier, that aren't outrageous.
I'll tell you the best dressed hooker I ever saw. We were in a late night restaurant here in New York called the Brasserie. I and my friend Bruce David, who is one of my friends who's now gone, and we're sitting there. And as we're sitting there, this woman walks in, and she's topless.
What in the
And she
diner?
walks down the steps. They have these long stairs. She walks down the steps topless, goes over to the counter, and sits down. And I said to Bruce, what's that all about? He said, well, let me go find out. So
I've
he
got a
went
vision.
over and sat down next to her and started talking with her, and we're watching him talk back. And finally, he's finished. He gets up and comes back. I said, so what's the deal? Why is she topless? And she says, I'm a prostitute, and I think it pays to advertise.
She's right. Yeah.
I mean, she was topless. No,
Yeah,
nothing.
I mean, if they don't throw her out and the cops don't have a problem with it, she's correct. Pays to advertise.
Well, if you don't have a problem with it, why not?
Yeah,
It helps. It helps make the decor better.
it was branding, marketing.
Yeah. I remember it was that same place I had a breakfast one morning with a good friend of mine, Robert Downey, who was a director.
Oh yeah,
The director.
the father of the one we know.
And he brought his son to breakfast. He was a
Oh,
little kid at
wow.
the time. Little kid. Robert Downey Jr. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now,
people
was
say,
he
have
a
you ever met
precocious-
Robert Downey Jr.? I go, yeah, I had breakfast with him.
But was he? Did you see signs of
No.
cinema greatness in him?
No. He was just, he brought the kid with him.
Uh-huh.
Kim was a nice kid. Yeah.
I like Robert Downey Jr. because he's been pretty frank about his struggle with addiction, and he
Yeah.
seems to have overcome it, and is living. He's got that nice wife, Susan, and he seems to be living an overcoming life.
Well, I've never been honest about my addiction, but I keep doing it. What the hell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just
I won't
it's
say
right.
what it is. My addiction is whatever happens to come along. You got a joint? Fine. You got some coke? Good. I'll do that.
What are you packing?
What are you packing? What's for lunch? Hey, we run out of time for this one.
Oh my goodness!
And I
We're
gotta
going to
go
drop
to
some more names.
I've got to go to PT.
PC, you look at you throwing your slang around. PT.
Yeah.
PT.
Thank you very much, Lori. We'll see you next week.
It is my pleasure. I will see you.
Bye-bye.
Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And that's Lori, and Lori will be back with us next week. I can't talk straight. What's my problem? I don't know. I'm losing it. Goodbye. I'll see you later. Yeah. But anyway, hi, how are you? I know, you're probably really edgy, right? Because we got this election coming up, and the entire history of the United States is standing on the precipice of it. What happens next Tuesday? Well, it may not happen Tuesday. It may happen a month later. We don't know. It could be 2 months later. Remember how long it took with Al Gore? Was it February? I think I don't remember. But anyway, it's just amazing what's been happening here. And the latest thing is that we've got our president, Biden, who opened his yap. Boy, you know, I just wish he'd shut up, okay, and let her get elected. But as you may remember, a few days ago at the Madison Square Garden folly that Trump held, at a place that normally holds circuses, okay? This was a circus. He got a comic who came on. Never heard of the guy before, and probably never will again. And he's used to doing roasts, okay? So he comes on, makes a very negative remark about Puerto Rico, which I could repeat again, but you've heard it a million times already. And the Republicans were assailed for that. You know, how could you let this guy get up and do that? And, of course, Trump says, I never heard of the comedian before in my life. Well, then why was he booked on your show? Don't you have any control over this sort of stuff? Anyway, he made the joke about, there's a giant island of garbage out in the ocean. It's called Puerto Rico. Thank you very much, folks. I'll be here all week. All right, so he does that. And then the Democrats will pounce on anything, so they pounced on that, as I guess, well, they should have. It was a tasteless remark about what is a island that is, all the people living on that island, by the way, are Americans, in case most people don't know that. They're not foreigners. And Puerto Rico is just not a state. It's territory. Yeah, I think that's what they call it. Anyway, so it was a very tasteless remark, and the Democrats, of course, have pounced on that, as well they should. Well, then Biden, in talking about this guy telling this joke, said something about the followers or something. I can't remember what the statement was exactly, are garbage themselves. Well, he meant the followers of that comedian. In fact, when I first saw the remark, I said, oh, he's referring to the comedian, his followers, But the Republicans have taken it to mean that he was saying all Republicans who follow Trump are garbage. And then all of a sudden they're going, oh, look, see how bad Biden is? He's worse than our guy was. Does that make any sense? Doesn't make any sense. So this is going back and forth, and it's crazy, Let me go on record here as saying that when you call people who follow Donald Trump garbage, you're absolutely right. Okay, so I just thought I'd mention that. Anyway, yes, Phil, if you're listening, that includes you. Okay, anyway, where are we? We have some callers here. I have to go. I forgot to open this up here. Participants, and then I let everybody in. Oh, hey, here we got a bunch of people. We got Charlie Wallace, and we got Alan, and we got Charlie. Okay, let me see here. I said admit all. Okay, here we go. Come on. There they go. Are they coming? Yeah, there we go. And there's Alan, and there's Josh Wheeler. Hello, all of you.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired of just this whole election cycle. It's just becoming childish.
It actually started January of 2021.
What?
Yeah.
It actually started.
It actually started right after the Biden was inaugurated.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just become too childish on both sides.
I think what Biden said was good. He hasn't said many negative things, and because he's not a negative person like Trump. But Trump says he's the worst president we've ever had, so it's all right.
Well, first he says the guy doesn't have a brain left in his head, that he's an old man and he's doddering and he's, whatever. And then when the guy makes a mistake, he jumps all over it.
Yeah. You're talking about Trump.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if you read the statement that Biden made, he was basically referring to the followers of the people who follow that comedian.
Absolutely.
But I
could have gone without being said, but oh well.
No, well, Biden should keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
This woman's trying to win an election here, and she needs every bit of cachet that she can get.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is Biden's not the candidate and Trump is. So when Trump says something stupid like that, it matters because he's the candidate.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they try to say that that the candidacy of Kamala is basically the Biden regime. Okay, everything that could be attributed to Biden or blamed on Biden, they're now blaming on Kamala because she was the last person in the room. Yeah, so it doesn't mean that anybody listened to her. She was a vice president. Come on,
Yeah, she had no power.
Yeah. It's an old story about there was a mother, and one of her sons became a sailor, and one of her sons became vice president of the United States, and she hasn't heard from either of them since. So, I mean, come on. But anyway, so it's just become so childish, and it's just, I'm tired of it already. I'm exhausted.
You're telling me that Trump's team didn't vet these comedians? I don't believe it.
Well, I mean, if they
in the teleprompter, so they saw all the jokes ahead of time.
Right. So I'm sure they had to vet these people, and they found a no-name comedian that nobody's heard of.
Well, he was on the Tom Brady roast.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Boy,
I never heard of him. Okay.
Either.
But he I mean, it was a tasteless joke, and Trump then says, well, I don't even know who this guy is. Well, then why was he on your show? You have to assume some kind of responsibility for this. You could say, well, nobody ran him past me, but had they done it, I probably would have looked at what his jokes were, or something like that. No, Trump wouldn't say that. Trump's not that smart. Oh, excuse me. He's very smart. It's Kamala who's dumb.
So, Alex, I got a text from one of the people that he says, tell Alex to switch views we can't see the group that you're
Oh, I
talking
see. Okay, excuse me. This happens to me all the time. I get so wound up here in doing the show that but you could hear them. What
It's
are you
all good.
complaining about?
Yeah.
You could hear them.
Yeah, really. He knows what we all look like. He's a regular on Amy's show, so
Yeah. Unless Amy isn't there.
well then but he listens to the Ramble anyhow, so
Yeah. Anyway, so it's I don't know, it's gotten to the point where I'm just so tired. I'm tired of both of them, oddly enough. I mean,
yeah.
and it's not that I'm tired of Kamala, but, they get their stump speech. And the stump speech is the speech that they give almost everywhere they go. Okay, and the only thing that changes in the stump speech is if some little news item has happened that day, or they're in Chicago and they wanted to open up with "Hello, Chicago, the greatest city in America," or whatever. They add that to it. They punch that in there. But basically, it's the same speech all the time. And now that we have these 24/7 news operations, they run her speeches every time she talks. But it's the same goddamn speech, and I'm tired of hearing it over and over and over again. Although Marjorie sits there and goes, "Hey, shh, Kamala's giving a speech." And I'm going, "Yeah? Do you want me to, lip sync it for you?" Amazing. Just amazing. How you doing, Josh?
Doing good. How you doing?
How do you think things are going?
Yeah, about the same, I think. It's tied up and gonna depend on who turns out the most people to vote.
Well, is it tied up?
Well, I mean, the info out there we have says that. In reality, I have no idea. I don't know that anybody knows.
Well,
I certainly don't.
So far in the live voting, the voting that's been taking place, over 50 million votes have been cast so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, which
That's pretty good.
positive
Of
news,
which
regardless.
41% are Democrats, 40% are Republicans, and 19% are, I guess, independents or undecided or whatever.
Well, who knows how those people voted?
Who knows how they're going to vote? Right, exactly.
Well, that's the big question. I mean, I think she's doing a nice job. I mean, the speech on the ellipse I didn't get to hear much of, except a few little things. I'll sit down and watch it later, but it looked nice. It's, I mean, look, they have a professional campaign, Trump has a bit of an amateur hour type deal because it's a bit of a free for all. And
okay, but
things like that,
answer me this one. That speech last night on the ellipse, okay, which is, by the way, where Trump gave his speech before he sent his people up to the Capitol to destroy it. She had this gathering, okay, and that's very nice, and we're very happy for her. And
By the way, the crowd was bigger than Trump's talk.
yeah. Well, then she probably could have completely destroyed the Capitol if she wanted to.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just that I just found that where was I going to go with that? Oh well, I forgot.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, I
We're
don't.
going to talk about her speech, but
Well, I mean, the speech was the same speech basically. Improved upon a little bit and so on. But, I know what it was. So they're talking about it, and they're saying she's making her final speech, her final bid for the presidency.
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay, that's her final bid. Then today she's in Pennsylvania giving another speech.
Yeah.
Now,
That
wait a
wasn't her
minute.
final.
Which one's the
It
final
wasn't.
one?
I was going to say, she's going to be all week talking places. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and the same thing about the one at Madison Square Garden was Trump's final speech to the nation.
they'll go right up till next Monday.
Monday night they'll be.
So
Well, I remember what people who are running for the presidency used to do. They used to buy time on the networks the night before the election
Yeah.
and give their final speech. But what are you
Yeah,
doing
I'm-
giving your
I'm
final?
sure that the commercials and halftime commercials during Monday Night Football, for example, will be
Yes.
nonstop political ads because
Yep.
that's the most watched program on Monday night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, more people will have that on Monday night than anything in the country.
Yeah.
Because Monday Night Football is the highest rated television program of its kind, basically. So yeah, that'll be, they're going to make a lot of money Monday night.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody is, not us, but
But
yeah, I'm sure,
her speech is a great speech, but it is a stump speech, and it is pretty much the same. And
I just want to point out, I paid $2.35 a gallon for gas last night.
$2 and what?
$2.35. So tell me about inflation.
Well, you're in Texas.
I'm
Yeah,
in
you're in Texas.
But
Yeah,
I'm
come
saying
to
it's still lower
California.
than it was 4 years ago.
it's been hovering around $3 where I live, and it's been below a day or two I bought it. It was below. A day or two I bought it in the last month. Let's say it was above. So it's been in that 290 to
Any of
310 range.
any of these Trump lovers who say, well, he was better with the economy than Biden was. Biden, to begin with, inherited his economy.
Yeah.
Okay. And secondly, he has improved on that economy.
Yeah.
So what's the problem here?
Yeah.
Why are you saying that things are not as good today as they were under Trump?
That's supposed to be 230,000 jobs created in October. And we're not even done with the month yet.
Stock market about a week ago, it's down now, but about a week ago, surpassed all-time numbers for the stock market.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I told you guys this before, and I send the screenshot to Patrick and Kevin here and there, but I have my stuff, invested fairly decently, I think, and my personal rate of return on one of my 401k accounts year to date, and we're pretty far through the year, is 38.4%. I made a lot of money this year.
Well, I'm pretty much where I was, and I've been spending money like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I have mine. Yeah, right. I mean, I have mine in aggressive growth areas, because I can afford the risk.
Mm-hmm.
You're young still.
The aggressiveness, I mean, if usually that would yield 20%. I mean, I could show the picture. I mean, it's 38.4% on one account, and I've got another account that's like 35%. So,
Yep.
I mean,
The people who think that the economy isn't good are the people who are saying, well, I went to the grocery store and cherries still cost more than they did last week.
well, I mean, there's some fairness.
Well, that's the metric by which they go. But the fact is that they don't realize that those people who are selling food to the grocery stores, not the grocery stores themselves, so the people who are selling to the grocery stores are what do you call it? What's the word we're looking for? They're oh God, my mind's a blank.
Well, they're gouging people for
gouging.
Sure, they can.
Yeah, they're gouging people, and gouging is not something the government can stop unless they, really aggressively go after it.
Yeah.
But in all the other metrics,
Right.
I mean, even the cost of living has gone down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are some things, that are there, but listen, no one is acting like the country doesn't have problems. Country always has problems. Big country with lots of people,
Taking a
Kamala's going to get the vote in California, but California's not doing as well as Texas and maybe Ohio and stuff like that. Gas is being in between $5 and $6 a gallon for a while. I paid $5.40 today or something like that. Food prices have doubled. I don't know if they've doubled.
No, they haven't doubled.
The stock market did great a couple weeks ago. Now it's dropping. I don't think the president has anything to do with the stock market. Fuel prices, he's got very little to do with, Food prices, I mean, it's the gouging. But yeah, things are not looking as good in the economy. Housing prices continue to go up. Rent continues to go up in California. But fortunately, California's going to Kamala, so.
Well, you see, people are, I mean, it's people who are gouging more than anything else. You know, I mean, the price of food. You can't blame that on Biden. He's done everything to bring the prices down, but it's up to those people who are gouging to bring them down,
Yeah.
or for us to go after the gouging, which we aren't very aggressive in doing. That I will have to argue that, but Trump isn't going to change any of that. These people don't realize how bad they're going to have it once if he becomes president. That he's going to put tariffs on everything, and the prices are going to go sky high on everything. Yeah. You want a new TV set? It's going to cost twice as much.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
See, Trump keeps lying about who pays the tariffs. He's making it act like the countries, China and
they will pay the tariffs, but then they'll pass it on to us.
Yeah. No, they aren't paying anything. I mean, Toyota has a $20,000 car. It only cost, they sell it to us for $20,000, and we put the 10% tariff on it. Now it's $22,000. Who do you think pays that $2,000? The person who buys the car.
Those foreign countries are permitted to impose the same likelihood of taxes, tariffs on our goods flowing into their country as well, which could cause their people to buy less and could hurt American manufacturing. I mean, it is a two-way street, I mean, my company, for example, sells many products overseas, some of which is made overseas directly, some of which is not, so, and it's not the only, I mean, many companies do that. So, including the American agricultural economy. I mean, we send a lot of food overseas, especially grain and a few other things, So, I mean, you can go to, Duluth, Minnesota and watch freighter after freighter roll in and out with grain headed through the St. Lawrence Seaway to Spain and other, places like that. So, I mean, it is a global economy and, I mean, it's okay that they think so, but isolationism, in my opinion, doesn't work. It's been tried several times, and it's ended badly each time. So, it's not the path that I would recommend for sure.
Right.
I mean, but they're very good at getting people. I mean, why do they keep talking about the economy? I mean, 90% of what he says about the economy isn't true and is greatly exaggerated, but that doesn't matter to him. He just keeps saying it over and over and over and over and over again. And people keep playing him saying it over and over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
Then sometimes they break down why what he said wasn't true, but by then most people have changed the channel or moved on to something else. Kim Kardashian's got a new picture on Instagram, and I'm going to check that out now. I'm busy. I didn't have time to hear the explanation of why everything he said was bullshit. So, that's their point, is it just keeps saying.
Well, also, I the last couple of days, I've kind of looked at Fox and I've watched Trump speak and the people speaking on Trump's behalf. And if you live in that ecosphere and you don't hear anything else, you're going to believe the message.
You would have a very negative view of the United States of America.
Yeah. Yep.
But the fact of the matter is, the main thing is, what he has done is something, I think Hitler did this too. Quite a few countries have done this from time to time it's what I call the belling the cat theory. Basically, what Trump says is, elect me, I will go outside the mouse hole and I will bell the cat so that anytime the cat is out there, you will hear him. Okay? All I want you to do is give me power. The mouse who told that story to the other mice wanted power. And that's how he's trying to get it too, by fear. Now, the big fear is all these migrants are coming in and they're raping your children. Right? And they're raping your children, which is a horrible thing. They're eating your cats and dogs.
Right.
We can go on with any number of things, but what he's done is he's made all the people in those audiences fearful and saying, I'm the guy that can solve the problem. But the fact is, there really isn't a problem out there. Yes, there are a few immigrants in here who came in over the border who are causing problems, and they're no good nicks, and fine, you know. But the criminals, like any other, you arrest them, you either throw them back in the pond, or you throw them in jail, right? But the rest of them are just people who want a better life for their kids and their wives, and they just came here to get a better life going. And the fact is that Trump is selling his people a bill of goods, that he's going to solve a problem that doesn't exist.
He tried that the first time, and he couldn't do half of what he said.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
right. This their plan.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying here. I mean, it's terrible. It is just terrible.
I mean, several of the issues that they bring up that they're scaring people with and providing these solutions for, what they say are solutions, hear me, are really not problems, I mean, it's funny that, when I watch television on my computer when I'm at work, the server that the company has that it connects to is located in Chicago, and it has me getting television from like the Milwaukee, Wisconsin TV market.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing their political ads when I'm watching. And, what I've found is with Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin, for example, they are running the same exact commercial, same footage and everything against her as they are here against Sherrod Brown in Ohio. And it's the whole commercial is about transgender men playing with your girl on her basketball team or her swim team or her volleyball. I mean, this is not a problem.
No.
I'm saying, I mean,
they showed a 6'4" guy. Weighs 250 pounds.
Right. Yes, they show the manliest looking woman you've ever seen, playing high school basketball. I mean, if this happened, fine. But there are like 3 people in America that this is a problem
well,
for.
also this lie that he's been perpetuating, and I can't believe he keeps mentioning it over and over and over again about you're going to send your kids to school and they're going to come back without a penis. Well, to begin with, in case you haven't looked at your daughter.
Yeah,
okay?
And,
but also, I mean, is that logical that they can cut off a penis and then send your kid right back home again without being in a hospital for days?
You cannot recover in 3 hours.
It's not. There are already laws against some of this stuff.
No, but wait a minute. What gets me, there are people who are believing what he says.
Oh, absolutely. I hear people every day discussing.
Does Phil believe this crap? No?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But, I think that if you cut off a penis, you send them home with a penis and a My pillow.
Yeah.
But I hear people.
It's such a stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
And why anchors ask them, give me one example of that happened. Tell me one place specifically where that happened.
Yeah.
No, but he said it can't. It could happen under Kamala.
Oh,
okay.
Well, but I mean, I have seen people going back and forth, and someone will posit, like, oh, so you're okay with some transgender man being in the locker room with your, I mean, it's almost like they believe that some guy, or really, this isn't a guy, it's not like a 40-year-old man. I mean, it's a high school age boy, would transgendered himself so he could get in the locker room with your daughter so he could rape her in there or something like. That seems like a lot of work, to commit a crime. I mean, but maybe that's just me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just very far-fetched. It's just out there, I mean, these are
all far-fetched things, and they are elect me, and I will solve the problem.
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. Of
course, it's very easy to solve a problem that doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, And look, if there is a school district here that has a transgender male in the girls' sports issue and all that, okay. I thought you guys were for freedom and local school districts deciding what worked for their local school district. So let that local school district figure out what they want to do with the citizens of that county and let that play out, Maybe somewhere it is and somewhere it isn't. I'm not saying I know all the answers to this stuff. I'm just saying this problem is so teeny tiny, itsy bitsy that you can't even see it with a microscope, let alone I need to weigh it in my mind on who I want to vote to be my U.S. senator. I mean, that's my, I mean, I guess I don't really care what my U.S. senator thinks about that because I mean, I mean, if I asked him where he stood on stray cats, that would be a more logical topic to get his opinion on than transgender men playing women's basketball in the eighth
Well, yeah,
grade.
but he isn't even talking. I don't think he's even talking about that. He's just talking about sending your kid to school and getting their penis whacked off.
They don't even have money.
Wait a
to
minute.
give the
Wait a minute.
teachers
Wait a minute.
supplies.
Getting your penis whacked off is good. Cut off is bad.
Yeah.
Let me restate that.
I mean, I don't know what to say about that. I mean,
No, but I'm saying that
I
these
wouldn't be
people,
concerned about
these
that, but
people who
maybe
are
some
in the
people are.
in the Trump ecosystem, this is all they're hearing. They're not hearing what the
I'm aware.
other side saying the truth. And quite frankly, for those people out there listening who are like Trump supporters who say, "Well, you don't listen to him." Well, I do actually. I watched that whole thing he did the other night at Madison Square Garden, for instance. Because I never miss a Rudy Giuliani appearance. But I mean,
I spent 3 days in the hospital every time they cut off one of my toes. Then I can cut off somebody's dick and then come right home.
I mean, plus
they
it could
didn't
be
miss and
Rudy's
cut
last
off
appearance.
they didn't miss and cut off a penis, did they?
No, I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not.
I mean, it's good Giuliani was there.
No, but it's all this kind of stuff about I'll solve the problem. I'm the solution to your problem. But there is no problem. That's the point. When you talk about immigrants coming into this country, to begin with, this is a country of immigrants. It was based on immigrants. It welcomed immigrants. Well, it didn't welcome Jews back in World War II, but, I won't argue that one, okay? Because the Jews came here and took all our jobs. But no, the point I'm making is that he seems to think that there are problems everywhere with immigrants. Well, New York City got an influx of how many did we get here? Something like 50,000 that were shipped in by your governor.
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
Into our city. And somehow we've learned to live with that problem, And they're kind of adapting to it and finding places for these people and helping them find jobs and all kinds of things like that. And they take the jobs nobody else wants, too.
I mean, I think that overall, and most sensible Democrats should probably take this position too. I would agree and concede that there are some issues with our immigration system.
No question.
Border. But our point is, I don't think extremist policies and
solve the problem.
Mass deportation is the way to solve the issue.
Oh, mass deportation would be an absolute horrendous.
Well, that's asking for economic collapse, if you ask me.
Because believe it or not, those people who are illegals, who are working here, are working the jobs. Number one, you don't want,
That's right.
And I think that any economist who's not a member of the Klan or the Aryan Brotherhood would probably tell you the same thing, I mean, and other than that, it's not, look, the country still has values, in my opinion, or at least it should. It still has founding principles.
I'm beginning to wonder if it does, to tell you the truth.
I mean, there are a lot of people that make it sound that way, but I think that we can get back from the brink here next Tuesday if enough people can do the right thing.
Listen, I've been saying this ever since I've been doing talk shows. I really don't like America that much because I don't like what it did to the blacks, and I don't like what it's done to did to my people when they tried to come over here during the Holocaust. They wouldn't accept Jews into this country.
No.
It was terrible. And so I've never completely loved this country. I felt that I always referred to it as having an illusion of democracy. That it wasn't really a true democracy, that we didn't live up to those democratic ideals. And I really don't think we have. I mean,
I
and
think
and
that
I
we
wait a minute,
do.
I look at the country right now, and I say, okay, let's say Trump doesn't win. The fact that there was a good chance he would bothers me enough.
Yep.
I
Okay?
mean, that's
Yeah,
fair.
why is it even close?
Yeah, why is it even
That's fair.
close?
I mean, it's fair enough, but I mean, the country has moved toward unwise places before out of fear and stupidity and just ignorance, if you will, because people were just not really in tune to what the real situation was. And it's happened before. I mean, there was the Great Depression led to a great movement for communism in this country that was rejected, and so on and so forth.
Well, I want to take you
You know,
back to when I was growing up and we had the House Un-American Activities Subcommittee.
right.
I mean, what a absolute witch hunt that was, you know?
Yeah.
And it was that particular incident that really turned me off to this country. You know, that how could this be happening in the country that I was told was land of the free, home of the brave?
Well, because it's not built upon, like any nation, perfection. I mean, it's just not. I
No, the
think this
perfection
country,
is one thing. Stupidity and hatred and bigotry is quite another.
well,
I
it's
mean,
not the
look at
first
what
country to
look at what
commit such sins.
but look at what this country did to black people, even after they were freed. Okay,
Sure.
we didn't free the
Even
slaves; we
today.
simply moved them to another location. You know, it was years before blacks got any kind of parity in this country, and it's just been recently.
Sure.
And I'm
But
sure.
we still have a lot of racism towards blacks in this country.
Oh yeah. Well, you can't stop hatred, stupid hatred by people. That's something
Nope.
you can't
No,
stop.
right.
But what you
Nope.
can stop is anything that prevents those people from having an equal opportunity, an equal chance. You know, and I think Charlie will agree with me on that one, right, Charlie? You know,
Yeah.
and you've been a guy who's been fairly successful in your life, and you probably haven't felt the real pressure of being black, or have you?
No, no, I was kind of privileged. My father was a doctor. My mother was a high school math teacher. So I had very educated people
Yeah.
raising me.
And education was something they impressed upon you.
Yeah.
And you probably didn't grow up in an inner city area.
No, I mean, there are a lot worse places in Chicago I could have grown up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is that what this country did to blacks was unconscionable. Absolutely unconscionable. And even once we freed the slaves, we didn't do anything to really free them. They just simply didn't. They could take their collars off, and that was it. You know, they
Sure,
still
well,
were
but-
imprisoned by.
But I think that
You know,
the point is overall that we did overcome it, and that there were a large amount of people, not of the afflicted group's persuasion, that gave their lives or sacrificed a great deal in order to help make it happen. And I'm not just talking about white people who died in the Civil War. It was a large and complicated war. I mean, there were plenty of whites who stood up during the Civil Rights Movement and others. And there are other areas, of these conflicts. So, I mean, what I'm saying is the overall conscience of the country has always worked hard to overcome these things, but it's not very easy sometimes. I mean, the world is what it is, and people are what they are, and governments can't legislate that out of their mind, and
Right.
unfortunately, we're not the only country to have committed such sins, but I think that we've done a better job than some at trying to acknowledge it and work through it. It gets hard at
mean,
times because you have people who want to deny it.
You got to
It's
realize, I grew up at a time where I remember in Little Rock or someplace like that, the little girls and boys trying to go to school and having to be walked to school by federal agents
Yeah.
so they could go to school. And
yeah, they were escorted by the military, who were sent in by Eisenhower.
and they were
a
stopped at
principled
the
man.
doors by the governor,
Sure,
who didn't
right.
want to let them in. I mean, and that was in my lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I don't think we'd see that kind of situation today, but I mean,
Right.
let Trump be president, and anything's possible.
Well, right.
Yep.
I mean, you'd like to hope not, right? But I'm not. Look, I've said before, I'm not so naive to believe that these fascist tendencies can't weasel their way in slowly and take over some things and try to take them away from us. That's how they'll do it. They're not going to hold up a sign that says I'm a big fascist and I want to throw out all your democracy and undo everything. They're going to do it slowly, and that's what Trump's people have tried to do. That's their Project 2025 is a plan. I mean, it's a do this, then do that, then do this, and do that. This isn't the old days where you depose the king and put in the new king, and then he just does whatever he wants. They understand we have a system, and their idea is to manipulate it and to play it. The job of the people is to wake themselves up from Instagram and TikTok for 15 minutes, just long enough to see what's going on, and say, I don't accept that. That's the challenge. I mean, for as much as you might want to blame the country or the government, I tend to blame other entities, like greed and corporations and things like that a little bit more for manipulating people than I do governments for just for me, the way I see it, but
I'm looking at these.
no perfection exists.
I'm looking at these statistics right now that say, over 50 million people have already voted, in advance.
That's good.
Which, by the way, election day, shouldn't we call that the last day you can vote? Shouldn't we just call it that?
Well,
41% are Democratic, and 40% right now are Republican. Of that 40% who are Republicans, well, first of all, of the 41% who are Democrats, what percentage do you think voted for Trump?
I mean, I would assume that it's pretty low, but
Yeah, I'd say almost zero.
I hope.
Yeah. But out of the 40% of Republicans who voted, how many do you think voted for Kamala? What
2 or
percentage?
3%.
More than that, I'd say.
I was going to say, if she could get that number up into that 5, 6, 7% range, I would have to think that's a massive.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
a
half of
massive
those-
win, for her in terms of being able to win the election, get to reach the end result that they want here.
I mean, I think there are a lot of people out there who say, I'm a Republican, and I'm going to vote as a Republican, but I can't stand Trump.
That's my hope, is that there's a hell of a lot of those
And I
people.
don't think that's showing up in the polls.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
I don't think people are truthful to pollsters.
Well, that's possible too.
Yeah.
And as I've said, I don't know how the demographics break down in all those polls.
Yeah.
I don't know who they get to answer, and I don't know how they take them. I know they don't just do them by phone anymore. They do other things. So I don't really know who answers them. I mean, do they really have a good, strong a demographic set that really represents the electorate? Or do they have one that's really skewed? I mean, I know they might say we interviewed 1,000 people and, whatever, but, were 800 of those people over the age of 55? Because if that were a poll, I would be skeptical of it showing real results of what we'll see on election night. Now, these people do this for a living, so I mean, I know they've thought of this. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't ever get that information. I mean, unless you go read the poll itself, they probably have it in there maybe. And I think that's what the real pollsters do, the people who break it down for you on CNN or MSNBC. I mean, the guys whose job is to sit at a desk all day and read these polls and things and interpret that. And I just don't hear too much about it.
Here is a statistic that I didn't give you. Of the 62,434,479 mail-in and early in-person votes requested nationally, 44% were Democratic and 30% were Republican, and 29% are other.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, It just seems like there's more Democratic votes there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Democrats seem to be open to just more ways to voting, period, from what
Right.
I've gathered, which is probably not much to think about, really. I mean, I think that was the same way last time,
Well, we mailed
Yes.
ours in, and I'm sure they're going to count unless the mailbox was set on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it'll go in, I mean,
You
as
don't
we
have a way
talked
to
about
check
before, she doesn't have to break new ground. She just has to repeat what Biden did,
Yeah.
I mean, she
that's all.
doesn't really have to win anybody over to her side.
you
She
see,
just has
she's-
to get the same
but-
people to vote for that voted for Biden.
She's got a deficit, and her deficit is she's a woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can't deny that.
She doesn't have a large lead in men. She doesn't have.
Sure.
62% of the men say they're voting for Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
Why? He's a real man, isn't he? Crybaby
No, I
wimp.
mean, I can't deny
That's
that.
the problem.
What'd
That's the problem.
that happens to be Kevin, who we can't really see because
If
he's
you
in
light
his
up
car.
a cigar, we'd see you. There you go.
There we go. What were you going to say, Kevin?
Well, that's the problem. Is most of these supposed followers don't listen to Trump. They listen to the snippets, crap like that, and that's what they're basing their voting on. And the polls don't capture that kind of crap.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying is that these guys, because I've taught a lot of people, and, if you really sit down and question these people, they don't know, some of them do, but most of them don't know shit what's going on. They just use he's a hard ass, and I'm voting for a hard ass. And they don't know the other shit. There's a lot of times that I'll just turn around and say, have you ever watched a documentary on Larry Cohn?
Not Larry Cohn,
Stone.
Yeah.
Stone. Back, the one that they did a while back.
Yeah.
Before all this, when Trump was being mentored by him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all you got to watch is something like that and know what he's up to now.
But you're expecting these people to watch a documentary.
But correct. They don't. They just watch the snippets. They say, "Oh, he's a hard ass," blah blah
Well,
blah.
there's more than
And
that,
if you're watching Fox, they're not getting anything gaffes or anything else.
For a couple of days, I ensconced myself in Fox and listening to what Trump people had to say and so on, and suddenly realized if that's your only ecosystem, if that's the only thing you pay attention to, then all this non-reality, all these lies, all these folk tales that are going around suddenly become true because you don't have the opposite information and to be able to come to
Gaslighting, whatever you want to call it. They believe it, and they don't stop believing it, and all of a sudden they're stuck in that environment.
Yeah.
And they just go. I'm going to go vote for Trump. Why? Ask them why. And they don't have an answer.
Yeah. But the fact
because he's a hard ass or some simple thing like that.
I don't think the fact that Kamala's black is a deficit to her because it wasn't a deficit to Obama.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the biggest deficit she has is she's a woman.
Yeah.
And I think that is a hard nut to crack, so to speak.
I think it's that's a real issue. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's very likely that if the same exact words on the campaign trail right now were being uttered by a guy who looks like Gavin Newsom running around, that we might have a different narrative tonight. As positive as ours is, I think it might be even
I
better.
would think that
Maybe.
if Gavin Newsom were running right now, he would be 20 points ahead of Trump.
I believe so.
I don't know if it'd be that much, but I think that it would be even better off than we are tonight.
Yeah.
And we're in an okay spot, but I'm so
Well,
that's
for people
no
who are
slight to her.
worried, for people who are worried, just remember one thing: that it may be close, but it could go either way. Yeah. And you're of course going to think negatively. Oh my God, we're not going to win. But there's just as much chance we're going to win as we're going to lose.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. The only problem is that we still have this damn, what do you call it?
Electoral college, yeah.
Electoral college we have to deal with. And in that case, she may not win. And he will probably once again lose the popular vote. I have no doubt about that.
Me either.
When was the last time we had a Republican that did win the popular vote? George W. Bush lost it 2 times in a row.
No, he didn't lose it 2 times in a row. The second
he
time
won the popular vote in 2004.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
That's the only time, like in the last 30 years, that Republicans won a popular vote.
Okay, so I was wrong by 1. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Trump has never won the popular vote. Never. And he's lost it by as much as 3 million to 5 million or 6 million, I think, where Biden was concerned.
It was 7 million.
Was it 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, this last time I think it was upwards almost 7, yeah.
Yeah, but that's only because the Democrats fixed it.
Yep.
Yeah, we all voted 3 times.
Yeah,
But
I
actually
did.
we won by a lot.
I did, and I know that there's some immigrants that are living down the street that have voted already 10 times.
Right.
So,
Well, we don't put up with no voter fraud here in Ohio. When people commit voter fraud here, we prosecute them. For example, we just indicted a guy for voter fraud a few days ago, and turns out they went to arrest him, and he's been dead for years. So, our state attorney general was just so proud of himself standing up there giving that press conference about the 6 people that they had indicted for voter fraud.
Yeah.
We don't put up with none of that crap here. And then they put the list of names out, and the press got a hold of it. And about a half an hour later, they said, "Hey, this guy here's been dead for like 5 years, right?" So,
who's your governor?
Well, the governor's Mike DeWine, but we have an attorney general named something, whatever, Yost or something, whatever, Ned Yost, I think. So,
Yeah.
He's a real ass clown, Trump sucker. He wanted to get on TV and say that he was cutting out all the, he wanted Trump to watch him for 30 seconds on Fox News and be like, "Oh, that guy there, he's good, good. But, after the soundbite was over with, on Fox, our local media here worked into it, and I sent these guys the story. I mean, they indicted a guy for voter fraud that's been dead. And they didn't indict somebody for using the dead guy's name. They
Indicted him.
Indicted the dead guy. Saying that he voted twice in an election when he wasn't even alive.
Oh, boy.
So, apparently he didn't vote twice,
this is
he was fucking dead.
It is becoming a goddamn cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, oh God,
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up at a time, where I could say, okay, we had the House Un-American Activities Subcommittee, went through all that. We went through the witch hunts on people being communists, and it was a terrible time. And I can say all those things form my opinion about this country and about what I think about politically, and this reason I'm really a leftist. But the fact of the matter is that it's no different now. It's worse now than it was then. Now it's just completely a cartoon of itself. Before people like McCarthy came along, they did what they did, and they created a real problem in this country. But eventually, people got wise to them. And eventually, they threw McCarthy out of office, and McCarthy was an alcoholic.
That's what we need. We need people to get wise.
Well,
And
exactly.
that seems to be a fault right now.
Yeah, but we got wise to it, and things got better. We haven't gotten wise to this guy. He's been around now, running for office for 3 different terms.
Well, but if he loses this time, maybe the narrative on that will change a little bit, because we'll be able to say that he won the first one when people tried him out. Now he's lost the next 2. And so I guess I'm saying I don't know that the verdict is in on that yet. We may be able to say, look, he was rejected the last 2, and it's very possible that this time a few of his closest homeboys will get rejected. I mean, what if Trump loses that night, Sherrod Brown gets reelected in Ohio, Ted Cruz gets thrown out of Texas, this lady wins the Senate race in Florida. I mean, the whole narrative suddenly is going to be
And the
totally
Republicans
different.
are going to have to change their tune.
Correct. And I think that might actually finally teach them their lesson when they have no Trump and no power.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Right.
Just to
First,
change
it's got to
the
happen.
subject- Just to
Yeah,
change the
exactly.
subject for a second. The World Series is over with. The Dodgers won 7-6.
Okay.
And I'm sure everybody's thrilled about that.
Well,
Yeah,
I live in New York, and my friend Shecky, I would feel sorry for him.
I've never seen you wear any sports memorabilia.
I used to wear a Giants cap,
Okay.
some Giant shirts and things like that. But that's only because the Giants gave them to me.
Well, that was
You wore some A's stuff too.
What?
Did you? You wore A's stuff too, did you?
A's. Excuse me. I wore the A's. Excuse me. I wore
Yeah,
the
that's
A's.
what I
stuff.
thought you. I never seen you in the Giants.
Yeah, I always wore the
A's.
A's stuff because I knew what's his name, who was who.
Yeah.
Huh?
The Haas family, right?
What
That was before that.
What was his name again? Haas. Yeah.
Walter Haas, yeah.
Yeah, Wally Haas. Wally Haas was a friend, and
yeah.
he'd give me the caps and he'd give me the shirts, and
right on.
I'd go out to the games and
Yeah, but
sit
that
right
was
behind
before
the.
the internet.
Huh?
That was before the internet.
Yeah, and then I would go out. One time, Wally said to me, "Anytime you want to see a game, let me know. I'll give you tickets and you can come out and see it." Okay. So my girlfriend wanted to go to a A's game. So I call up Wally's office. I said, we want some tickets. So they immediately sent me some tickets out. And my girlfriend and I trot out there. And then we give them our tickets, and they start walking us up and up and up and up. And now my back is to the wall, the upper wall. And what was playing down there on the baseball field were essentially fleas. Okay?
Little tiny bugs.
And boy, did I go after Wally on that one. And he said, that shouldn't have happened. And the next time, he got tickets for my girlfriend and I, and we were right behind the dugout. So,
Yeah.
in the owner's seats. So,
There you go.
And I got to throw out the first pitch.
Really?
Yeah, I got the.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't,
Did you come close to the batter?
I actually hit the catcher in the crotch.
There you go.
But the thing was that
At least somebody
I
caught
said,
the ball.
"Oh, good, I'll throw out the first pitch." So they take me out to the mound, and now it looks like the batter is in San Francisco. I mean, I never realized the amount of space between that pitcher's mound and the batter, and it's
60
like
feet, 6 inches.
enormous. What?
60 feet, 6 inches.
But I made it over the plate to hit the
There you go.
catcher in the crotch. Catcher in
At
the
least
crotch.
somebody
Wasn't
caught
that a
the ball.
book?
Catcher in the crotch.
Yeah, catcher in the
Children's
crotch.
book.
Okay.
Catcher in the
Well,
crotch.
anyway, let me.
There's like a 10-minute video on YouTube of the catcher catching the balls that way a lot of times.
Yeah. Anyway.
One ball smashes 2 balls, and now you got a catcher rolling around on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't sound fun.
Anyway, in case people are waiting for Amy, she's not doing any shows this week. She's on the kind of duty that you're going to be doing it, right? On Tuesday night, Kevin?
Starting Saturday, we got 4 days. Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Okay, so he's going to be doing that. We're going to be around, I think on Tuesday, we're going to do a show. Okay. And then we might do a show Wednesday. I haven't decided yet. I'll let you know on Tuesday. And because if there's more to talk about, I certainly want to let you talk about it. My plane doesn't leave till 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night the next day. So no big deal. Anyway, hey, listen, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been a nice little discussion. Hopefully we'll have a few more days of being able to talk about the election. and then we can get our sanity back. Well, or maybe it just gets crazier. We don't know. Charlie, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much from you, my dear friend Alan. Josh, good having you here. Kevin, you're delivering food, right?
No, I just got home. I'm going to bed.
Okay, have a nice nap. Anyway, everybody, thank you for joining me. And why don't you just give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. There's no Amy tonight, but we'll be back again tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, you know what to do. Tell her I love her, okay? Good night, everybody.
This is a test. For the next 60 seconds,